Hey, Marla. Hey, Kelly. Can you guys hear me okay? Hey, Skylar. Da, da, da. Let me do the mirror. Look at that mirror function. I love that. I'm still getting used to that. When I go to the left, I go to the right up here. So it's good times, good times. And we are waiting for our guests of honor to come join us. Whoop. And there's Evelyn. She is here. I'm going to invite her up. You guys just talk amongst yourselves. Oh, where'd she go? Hang on. There she is. We're going to accept Evelyn's request. I feel like I'm sitting crooked.
Hello, my dear.
Hello. How are you?
Good.
We're just waiting for. Oh, there you are. I was like, please tell me you're putting your camera on.
I'm
Hey, Pa. How are you?
not going to leave you up here by yourself.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I haven't seen Joe's name come in, but it's going pretty quick. So I'm trying to kind of, hey, Letty, I'm trying to keep up with it. Has anybody seen his name in there? I haven't seen it. Hey, Pup. Hey, Melissa.
He's notoriously like 7 minutes late, 8 minutes
It's
late.
okay. It's okay. It's still weird. Did you put your mirror on too? Because I'm looking at
No,
it. Okay.
no, 'cause I feel like it makes me backwards and I don't like it.
Well, I like now that you can actually see my name behind my head. But see, this
Yes,
looks
that is
like
cool.
there we go. Of course, I know, Pup. We're so ready to go. We are ready. I'm trying to get so you can see the book behind me, but I'm back. I'm
It's not glowing like it was the first night.
I tilted it a little bit.
Ah,
And in true Brenna fashion, she was redoing her bookshelves too because hold on, let me go this way. Because I was like, oh well, I got it. Oh, you can't
my
see
ring
me.
light's too bright. I can't.
It's fine. It's fine. Okay. Has anyone seen Joe come through yet? It's only 8:02, so we've got time. Hey, Aaron. I know we've got time.
We should play
Howdy.
some music. Wish we had like the music from Discord.
Oh,
Just
like
waiting.
Pavlov's dog. Hey, Tiffany. Hey, Sarah. Hi, Brandy. Okay, I'm gonna try and invite him this way and see. I don't know if it's gonna work because if he is not on, I don't think it works, but we'll find out. We shall find out. Yeah, I think he has to actually be in here. Do, 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 do. No biggie. So we'll just chit chat, guys. We're just yeah.
Yeah, elevator music. Exactly, Letty.
I'm not gonna sing though. Totally not singing. See, and
Oh,
I
come
love
on,
that
Brenda.
this it will suggest these people. I'm still I'm still traumatized by the clown. Probably for the rest of my days. Every time I do a live on here, I would no, Aaron, you don't want to hear me sing. Trust me. Although I've been singing Mr. Brightside for some reason, and I don't know where. I don't
I
know
was just getting
why.
down to Queen. Queen came on my.
That's a good. That's a good choice. Hey, Jody. Yeah, you really don't want to hear me sing. Mm-mm.
Maybe we do. Maybe this is your moment to shine.
Listen, books are my thing. Oh, look, Mel's here. Mel can sing. Mel just
Melanie.
popped in. Hi, Mel. Yeah, I would definitely. Now she can.
She
Oh,
can sing.
girl, that girl can not sing. She can sing.
Mm-hmm.
That is for sure. So for everyone who is just now joining in the chat, we are waiting for Joe to kind of pop in the chat. Um, oh, oh wait, hold on, because there was a request, and I was like, if that's not Joe, I'm
No,
terrified to talk.
I saw Melanie kind of pop up
Okay.
in a second.
Well, no, because there's like where the little friend person is. I'm afraid to hit it for this, guys. If a clown pops up, I promise you. I know, Lisa. Lisa, I promise you, I'm still scared. Okay, no, it's not. Okay, good. Phew.
You know, if
Yeah.
you don't have at least one memorable moment from Alive, are you even doing it right? You know, there's got to be something. But the clown, you could probably do without.
I mean, yeah. Well, the thing too, at least I'm very much blinded by the lights that are in front of me.
I'm
So
blinded too.
it's great. Oh, there's Joe. Okay. Hold on one second. Hey, Joe, I just saw you pop in the chat. Hang on one sec. I'm gonna add you up on here. There we go. Can you hear me okay, Joe?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
How
Hey,
you
everyone.
doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Okay, we're gonna knock on wood again because this seriously. Okay, we're not gonna jinx it because
Very smooth.
I always worry. I always worry, and my heart gets really nervous. Like, it's always technical issues are always a great icebreaker. But
We
we're
didn't
gonna
have
dive.
any of those.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, so maybe we've kind of turned a corner and we've pivoted. Um, I'm still getting used to being backwards, but again, you can at least see my name up there, so we're good to go. Anyway, we're going to dive right on in. So thank you guys, everyone who is here for our night two celebration of we're returning to Neverland. And it's technically 2 years since the audio came out, but it's 4 years to the month, almost to the day of the release of Losing Neverland. So we've got a couple of anniversaries that we're celebrating. But tonight we're gonna dive into the darker side. On Tuesday, we talked with Maxine Mitchell, who is our Wendy and our Tinkerbell. And so, if you guys did happen to miss that one, that replay is over on the camera app. I don't want to say the word. So if you guys want to go and watch that replay, it is there. But tonight we're going to do a dive into the guys. We're going to talk about Peter and Hook and Jake. And while I try to keep these lives as spoiler free as possible, this one's a little bit unique because the book, like I said, has been out for 4 years and the audio's been out for 2. But we do still want to try and keep it spoiler free as possible, because I tell you right now, when I tell you guys how much I love this series, um, it is one that is very near and dear to my heart. But the message behind it and the themes beyond, the pixie dust and all that stuff, it's a beautiful story that Evelyn has created for us. So thank you everybody who's here and who's hanging out with us on a Thursday. I know, Erin,
It's
it's
crazy.
it's crazy. It's been 2 years. I can't even stop
Time
and
flies.
really think about it. But yeah, this was kind of fun, putting it together. And I know, Evelyn, I saw your post this morning. You said about, the conversation. It's been kind of years in the making. So it's been really fun. I was listening to it back this month and just kind of re-listening to this book, because I haven't listened to it since I initially listened to it. So that was my first re-listen, and it's like, oh, you get like all the feels. Even though I know what's going to happen this time, it's just like it's hard not to get kind of thinking back on where I was, when I first heard the book. Anyway, but anyway, one thing I do kind of want to dive into, because we're going to do a little more of the audioversary, if you want to call it that. Evelyn, can you tell us a bit of how Losing Neverland came to be in audio? Because like I said, it's initially came out 4 years, but the audio has been 2 years. So how did Escapism come to audio?
We touched on this a little bit Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even a book that was in the play for Blue Nose Audio. I had approached them about other books, and they were looking at my social media, and they saw this book, and they said, "Can we look at it?" And I said, "Absolutely, you can." And then they were like, "Well, we really, really like this. Can we do this?" I'm like, "Absolutely, you can." And then they told me the narrators, and it was magical, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word, who was going to be on the project and bring it to life. So very grateful.
Yeah, for your first audiobook, way to kind of knock it out of the park. I mean, come on.
For better than that, exactly.
So Joe, for you, what was it like hearing that you were having a Peter Pan retelling kind of come across your desk to work on?
I mean, I love literature. I have always loved the way that art can help create and inspire new work. And I think that there's something really sort of unique. I watched this. Do you know who Harry Mack is?
Mm-mm.
Harry Mack he's a freestyle rapper, and
Okay.
but he's a drummer. And there was this interview that I watched where he was talking about how percussion is like the most ancient sort of human musical form. Like, you made sounds with your voice and you banged on drums. And so, like, he's like, I'm a drummer today, and I feel like I'm tapping into thousands of years of human history every time I play the drums. And there's something connective about revisiting stories from human past and revisiting them, thinking through them through the lens of a contemporary story, a contemporary universe, and just a contemporary and personal set of eyes. And so I was very excited to have an opportunity to revisit a classic tale told through the lens of modernity.
Yeah. So one thing I feel like for those who may not already know, right before this came out, Joe had recorded J.M. Barrie's version of Peter Pan. Do you ever think, Evelyn, that it was kind of like serendipity, where it was like the
Absolutely.
timing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wanted the book to come to audio when I first wrote it, but it was just not financially feasible. And I honestly am a firm believer that everything happens in due time and when it's supposed to happen and when the stars align or however you say it's supposed to work. And in 2022, it wouldn't have come to audio the way that it did. So waiting the 2 years and then hearing just the little things of how Joe had just finished recording the original.
Yep.
And, now this was coming across their desk. Just the way that it all aligns is beautiful when you see the universe work out that way. And it couldn't have worked out any better. So it's proof that when you wait, good things are in the waiting.
I've said before in many numerous book reviews that I've done where a book will come to you at the time it's supposed to come to you, or you'll scroll through your socials and you'll see a quote that's you're meant to see it like right in that time and day. And I know we touched on this on Tuesday, and I know we had discussed it originally when the book first came out, and it's what's is it serendipitous? Is that the word? Because I
That's
feel
a
like
word.
Can it be a word? Is it really a word?
It is
Yes,
a word.
it's a word.
Okay, cool. It's totally a word. Okay. It's like Pup just said, it came to audio exactly when it needed to. And the book came into my life when it needed to. And I feel like that's just kind of one of those moments where I was like, it was kismet. It was meant to be. There's something that I'm curious, because you did have that kind of a break in time, Evelyn. Was there a moment where you, in this whole process, with it coming to audio, where you thought to yourself, this is more than it's bigger than the book that I wrote. It's more than just the book that I wrote.
I don't know about when it came to audio. I think that when I wrote it and people asked me for a sequel, maybe because I wrote it on a dare. I never intended there to be more to this universe or a sequel, Saving Tank, or even writing the extended version or anything like that. So I think when, you take a chance on yourself, you take a chance on a story and you publish it, and then people go, holy shit, I really like that story. Will you give me more? And you go, oh, wow, okay. And so maybe that moment was when I saw that it was bigger than what I thought, that this little idea had grown. So probably that.
So there's somebody who just put it in the chat. They said on a dare. Can you elaborate for those? Because for folks who weren't here on Tuesday, it's actually a really funny story. So can you share with us the dare?
Well, okay. So I had read retellings were kind of like a thing. They were coming across the market, and lots of people are doing like Beauty and the Beast or different other things. But I had always loved Peter Pan. I had a big love for Peter Pan and some other, Beauty and the Beast just wasn't my thing. But I love the idea of Neverland and escaping and, a boy coming to your window at night and the mermaids and just all that kind of stuff. So I started searching for Peter Pan retellings, and I found a couple, and I will not name which ones because they are great books. And I read them, and I got frustrated with them, not because they were bad books. They were great books, great stories. But I was like, man, it just isn't the way that I would have written this. And so I was talking to one of my friends about it, just kind of telling her about one of the ones that I had recently read, and she goes, well, why don't you write it? I was like, I can't write that. I can't write fantasy. I don't know paranormal. Like, I was writing dark romance. I didn't know all this. I don't know the world building and what you're supposed to do. And she's like, well, then stop bitching about it.
And write the book.
And so then, that got me frustrated. And I was like, all right, fine. Well, then I'll write the freaking book. And so I wrote the book, and it just expanded. I was like, well, how would I do this? And so I bought the original, and I dog-eared all of it, and I made tons of notes and had all these, like, what are they called? The tabs, all the things. And just went from there. I was like, okay, how can I twist this? How can I make this work? And that's what Losing Neverland is what came out of the twisting.
I love that. It's just such a fun story. Joe, was there a moment that you, in the process of, I know it's been some time, but was there a moment in recording where you thought to yourself, this is bigger than just a performance? Did it ever feel like more than just a performance to you with the serendipitousness?
First off, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein was also written on a bet.
Yeah. There's a lot of
it's issue 1,
yeah.
that bet.
Yeah.
I think that the writing style and the blend between themes that are very sort of natural and humanistic, meeting this sort of larger than life landscape, lent itself to bigger than normal storytelling and larger than life presentation. So I felt like the material gave me permission to make big choices and to be really bold with characterization and style. Because I think it's also a story that people are familiar with. So there's this sort of idea that you'll have about these characters, some antecedent. Like you either read the book or you saw some film adaptation or some animated version. And so there's like a unique kind of challenge for a performer when you are working on material that people are going to have some conception of before they come to your version of it. And I think for me, that's just permission and a challenge to kind of be bold, be brash, be authentic, and be as unique as you can be. And
kind of go all in.
So, I mean, I try and go all in. I don't try. I go all in
do.
every time
do.
that I do anything. So, but when the characters are written in such a way that they really lend themselves to that larger than life storytelling, I think that's where I'm really kind of at home as an actor. So
that kind of tees up my next question for you. So were there any parts of the other iterations, be it, J.M. Barrie's version or the animated version, were there any parts or pieces of those characters that you took with you into Evelyn's Escapism, or were you just, nope, I'm going to start with a fresh, clean slate?
Well, again, I had just read the source material. So did somebody just give me a cat?
I was like, is that what that was? I'm blinded by the light, so I kind of like, is that a cat?
It was a cat, Joe.
I'm normally very gracious about thanking people for the weird TikTok things that they give me. And I will tell you right now, I'm allergic even to your virtual cat presence.
Erin, was it you? Did you give Joe a cat?
Did you do it, Erin? He loves it.
Sorry,
look at her.
Until TikTok gets a collaboration with Garfield together.
Sorry. What are we saying? I'm so distracted.
I love it.
So I had that.
Thanks, Sam.
I mean, I had that story kind of, it was fresh in my mind. And I think for me, the pieces that I think when I revisit material that's from a previous generation, one of the things that always strikes me is how dark the source material is. Like, you read stuff like if you read Grimm's fairy tales, or you read, you're like, they're reading this to children.
Yeah,
this is terrifying.
Like Hansel and Gretel. Like, we read those as children. No,
I mean,
but the original source material was to scare the shit out of the kids, right? Like, it's like that's like the original fairy tales. It's like they wanted to scare the children. It was to teach them a lesson. Was why it was originally kind of written.
Yeah.
And so it lots of it can be really dark and twisted.
I mean, I'm thinking of the scene where like a character has their shadow like separated from them, and like this is pretty intense. Like this is pretty. It's dark. No pun intended there. And I will say that like modern retellings, the like Disney films or the Robin Williams film, I actually don't know that I ever saw them or have like a particularly strong connection to them. I certainly didn't remember any of them. So on that side of things, I was able to just kind of dive in and be like, I'm just going to create this world from my own imagination and from Evelyn's landscape. But I thought about, again, just kind of knowing who Robin Williams is as a performer, and is it Tim Curry that plays
I think it
Hook
was
in that?
I think so. Yeah.
Like
it's
I've
been a
seen
minute.
Tim Curry in things, and so I've doesn't Tim Curry play the devil in Legend? And obviously, I'm sorry, am I the only one here that knows what Legend is?
No, I know it, but I've not seen it.
What?
I don't know what it is, so.
I'm gonna go hide in the corner.
Legend is Legend was this like Legend is the reason that I was 18 years old before I found out that unicorns aren't real. So
Sorry.
Legend is a film that stars a young Tom Cruise and a hooved Tim Curry. And
I gotta go watch this now. So you're gonna go watch the Disney Peter Pan, and I'm gonna watch Legend this weekend.
okay.
That's our plan.
Yeah, that's my plan.
Sure. Go
So
for it.
it's so good. I mean, it's
Now I'm
it's
very
probably
curious.
also, I haven't looked at it in a very long time, but I imagine that it is pretty dark if it's like in the retelling. Anyway, those kinds of big, bold characters leaving a sort of lasting impression. I think particularly Hook's character lent itself to that style of presentation. Then, of course, the way Evelyn wrote it, without sort of giving away too much, I thought required particularly bold and diametrically opposed choices inside of a sort of singular voice. So I was really intent on ensuring that all of the voices had a very unique and specific attack and delivery to language and what it is that they were pulling from Peter. I thought of them a little bit like the Freudian concept of the id, the ego, and the superego. So just had each one of these sort of elements of the self pulling this character in different directions. And so I allowed each one of those voices to kind of pull the character in a different direction.
I love that. I'm curious, Evelyn, did you, knowing that Joe had just recorded the inspiration, behind this series, did you kind of feel any little bit of a pressure at all?
No. I mean, I was excited that he had, because I didn't know, I didn't this broaches another topic. I didn't really know who Joe Arden was before coming to Blue Nose. So I didn't know if he
but this was your first audio, so yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually a funny story. I didn't really know much about Joe Arden before coming to Blue Nose Audio. I had never really listened to audiobooks. I had maybe like 3 audiobooks on my Audible library that I had tried to download over the years. And I had heard clips on like TikTok and different things like that. So of course I was well aware of like the Raven Hood. But I honestly couldn't have told you if it was one guy or 3 guys' voices. So when I came to Blue Nose and I gave him the project, just knowing the dynamic that Hook had to have and Peter had to have, I do remember they told me, Joe, and I knew his name. I knew, everyone had heard the name Joe Arden. But I went to a friend and I actually asked my friend, I was like, well, it's kind of like this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing. Like, do you really think that like Joe Arden could do it? I hadn't really heard Joe perform before.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, I think you're okay, babes. And she was like, go listen to this and this and this and this. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, we're good. So basically hearing that he had read Peter Pan before, it helped me at the time, because I was like, well, he knows the material, now knowing a lot more about the man himself. I know that he reads a lot and he's into philosophy and everything. And if I had known all that before, I would not have had any reservations. But
I've literally read Jekyll and Hyde.
I know that too, because I've listened to it now.
Yeah.
With
I have listened
British
to it.
accents and everything.
I know.
It's
I've
fantastic.
listened to it.
It's so good.
It's
so good.
I went on a rabbit hole of the Joe Ardenness afterward.
I've done Alice in Wonderland. You could literally go down the rabbit hole.
I literally did
No,
that.
we're just going to keep going. Like this is how quick you are. I love this.
No, I did. I literally just went down the rabbit hole. But I didn't know. I did not know before coming.
Yeah.
And then in all actuality, if you bring it full circle, because I had heard the name before, this is even more funny. I had 3 audiobooks on my Audible library, and I was like, man, Joe Arden, that sounds really freaking familiar.
Because he was already
So
there.
I went back to my Audible library, and actually Joe is the first audiobook I ever listened to back in 2019.
Yeah.
Who knew? You know, so it coming all full circle like that was really
circle.
kind of cool and like even more serendipitous for me, realizing it all at the time. But yeah, so
I love that word. I'm gonna make a sign. Serendipitous. It's serendipitous.
the only reservations I had was that I didn't really know who he was as a performer.
Yeah.
First, but then after going down my rabbit hole, I was like, we're good here, guys. This is going to be freaking phenomenal. And it was.
You guys, for a brief moment in time, there was my football number of people in this live. I was pretty excited.
What's your football number?
I wore 77 when I played football.
I like that.
Yeah.
Wait, football, like the oval football or like soccer football?
American football.
American football.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Which I was very excited, by the way, when I looked at the schedule for the World Cup, and I was like, whew, dodged a bullet there, because I had no idea. I don't watch soccer.
I can assure you that I would not have agreed to a live that conflicted with any of the knockout games in the World Cup.
Trust me.
So
I was like, oh, I looked at the schedule, and I think I asked Alexa, and I was like, oh, thank God. But
I had a hard enough time doing ITVs in the audio attic. They're like, we're so sorry, Joe. We're all busy this week. I was like, okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah. So we're down to the wire with that one. So I am gonna, now that we're getting like towards the end, we're gonna squirrel a second. Now that we're like, at the finish line of it. Now I'm into it, but the rest of the year I'm like, whatever, it's fine.
It's the championship, the cup final.
Yeah, like the big one. It's the Super Bowl, right? I'm joking. I'm literally joking. I know it's not the Super Bowl. Okay.
It's the World Cup. It's it's like the Super Bowl and the Stanley Cup and the World Series all in one event.
Everything.
Sure.
The big guns.
Toss it in there.
Let me get back on track. Sorry.
They have. Do you know they have like 78 musical artists that they're apparently going to try and squeeze into an 11-minute halftime show?
Oh, that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, actually. It's the first time that the World Cup has done their entertainment at halftime because it's not possible to do that fast.
Yeah.
And they don't. Soccer does not fuck around. They're not like, oh, okay, we'll just make it a longer halftime. They're like, no, you have 15 minutes. You need to get back out there. Although they've already, these match breaks, they've turned the game on its head anyway. But in previous World Cups, you do the musical part of the show before the game starts. It's like a pre-show thing. And they're doing it at halftime with like literally every musician that's ever sold a platinum record, and it's supposed to be like 11 minutes long.
So is it like, I'm trying to wrap, like I'm just picturing like the first thing I'm totally gonna date myself here, but I'm thinking it's like We Are the World. That's all I can picture, that you have all of these massive artists.
You're gonna have Justin Bieber, Shakira, Madonna. There's literally, I think there's like 7 or 8 like co-headliners or something. But
that's wild. Well, I'm totally watching it. So yeah, whatever day it is.
Hey, Venomous Core is here. I was live on TikTok for a very long time last night at a very odd time.
Yeah,
and things got a little loopy. It was fun. I was trying very, very, very hard to get to 150,000 followers before my Instagram follower count grew past 50,000, because it was at the exact number. So Facebook was exactly at 25K, and then Instagram was exactly at 50K, and TikTok was at 149.7 or something. And so I started a live, and I was like, let's just see if we can get this thing all the way to 150, so that I have the psychologically satisfying numerals of 5. And people are like, what are you talking about? Does that even matter? I'm like, no, it doesn't matter. It's totally pointless. But for me and my brain, it would be so nice to see. And I've never been more disappointed. I woke up today and I logged into IG and it said 50.7 0.1K. And I was like, no.
Okay, everybody
Because
unfollow
TikTok
for
is
just a
still
little bit.
149.8 or 9 or something like that. So anyway, we have not hit the 150K, which is fine. I do not obsess over these things at all. But we had a very nice live, and this person who's here now was there, and I read their handle name as Venom Mouse Core, but it's actually Venomous Core. But then we had a whole thing about, we basically created a character called Venom Mouse, who is Mickey Mouse's like dark. Basically, it's like a Mickey Mouse retelling. Actually, it could be your next project, Evelyn.
No.
Venom Mouse is.
You heard it here first, y'all.
I'm not Mickey Mouse. I'm his dark, twisted cousin, Venom Mouse. Like that. It's too late, Katie. The voice is out of the bag.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Oh, God. Well,
Brenna, how do you come back from that one?
I don't know, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't think that's been done before.
A Mickey Mouse retelling? I don't think so either.
I've seen Yetis. I've seen, I've heard of the octopus. I mean, doorknobs.
It hasn't been done before because Mickey Mouse is one of the most protected pieces of intellectual property in the universe.
Good point.
But it doesn't have to be exactly. It could be just.
No, you can now. You can make it about Steamboat Willie.
That is very true.
The OG Mickey Mouse from Steamboat Willie is now public domain. So there you go.
I got nothing.
I still think
Everyone in the chat is now telling me I have 150K, which I don't believe them. If that's true, I'm gonna go into IG and I'm gonna remove all the bot accounts. Drop it back down, then I'll be back.
Oh, like the 3,000 Chase Rices that follow me. It's great. It's fantastic. Anyway, we're gonna get back on track because I totally squirreled. Okay.
No, we moused is what we did.
Mouse.
Of course we did. One thing that I know I will say this, and it's not a spoiler, I promise, because it is the tagline for the book. But Peter and Hook are the same man, and that part of that, the duality of those two characters, and the way that Evelyn, that you wrote that whole, I don't want to say landscape or the word that I'm looking for. I'm still thinking about the mouse. I'm sorry, because I'm really distracted by the mouse, because I'm thinking of Steamboat Willie and like a dark romance on a boat. Anyway, but the way that you kind of blurred the lines between hero and villain, the good guy and the bad guy, because Peter, you kind of think of, okay, he's the good guy. He's the hero. Not so much in the escapism world. So was that a challenge for you in kind of like trying to balance both the good and the bad beyond just Peter and Hook? Because Peter himself kind of...
No, because I think that in normal life, we all do it all day long. We all balance the line between what we want to say and what we don't want to say, the good parts of us, the bad parts of us. I think as we get older, we learn how to disguise them better, maybe, or say things more tactfully. But there's always an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other, at least for most of humanity. So it's just tapping into which one wants to come out and play. And then knowing when to pull back so that the reader maybe doesn't get so mad at you if you go too dark or too light, or then trying to just, maybe keep it with J.M. Barrie's voice in mind and what he kind of thought for Peter and everything. And when you get into it, Peter, he's not that good of a guy. Yeah. You read the original, he's fun and he's, charismatic and this and that, but he's cocky and he's arrogant and he is selfish. And so, he has his own issues just like the rest of us. So it wasn't too hard for me, no.
I loved that creative spin of it though too. And then of course, Joe performing it just I don't want to give too much away, because for anybody who's watching and hasn't listened to it, that's y'all's homework assignment. One thing again, because I feel like serendipitousness is a word now, is kind of a recurring theme. Again, when I sat down and I was trying to, put thoughts together, and reflecting back on, the past couple of years. So it's not just the audio thing, but there's also the shadow connection. For those of you who may not know, Joe Yond, he wears many different hats, but he also wrote a book of poetry. I'm backwards, so it's behind here. Shadow, I have two, so there are two. The two of them are sitting right there. So the whole connection of Peter's shadow and Jay and Barry's, and then you have Evelyn's, and then Joe's shadow self. Have you ever thought about that connection, Joe, or is this just completely pulling at straws here?
Well, I mean, we are collectively, according to Carl Jung, we are collectively pulling from the same consciousness, and we share basically just sort of core feelings. And throughout human history, there have been attempts to explain and describe where we come from, where we're going, and how we feel in the in-between. And that's why I've always been drawn to creation myths and mythologies from various cultures, because I like to see how time and space will change somebody's perception of the same fundamental human question. How did we get here? What is the purpose of being here? Where do we go after we leave here? And so it's not, I mean, I think what you're pointing out here is just like the idea of a shadow, this sort of metaphorical duality, is a theme that you'll find across literature. You think about characters like the Phantom of the Opera, and or again, Evelyn even mentioned like the concept of having a sort of a good devil and a bad devil, angels on two shoulders kind of vibes, like two different voices that whisper. We've already talked about the id, the ego, and the superego. This idea that there are different voices that pull and push and move us in different directions. And the image of a shadow, I think, is a very compelling one. It is indeed something that is pulled on in Peter Pan. I believe I actually reference that scene in the introduction to Shadow Self, because I had just read it and I remember the scene where the shadow gets cut and how sort of terrifying and awful that is. And then, of course, how beautiful the like sewing of the shadow back on was. I also just recently saw an interview with David Duchovny, who was asked to give advice for just like aspiring creatives. And he said, don't run from your shadow, embrace it. Mm-hmm. That's not darkness, that's richness. And so I think that when we give ourselves permission inside of a safe space to face our darkness, we find meaning, purpose, and value there. And that can cross disciplines, whether it's fiction or poetry or art. I mean, the whole concept of like chiaroscuro, which is like an Italian painting method that is all about the way the light contrasts with the dark. So you create sharp angles and like definition of contours and features of the face or a building based on the way you frame the light source so that it sharpens the dark spaces against it. So,
well, it's even how people talk about doing shadow work, right? So if you work on yourself, the shadow work you do on yourself is looking inside yourself for the darkness and learning to grow and what you can mirror and reflect and let it teach you what is going on inside of you in order to get to your next level. Or there's like all that kind of, just to piggyback off of what Joe said.
Yeah. And see, this is kind of like, again, I know we talked a little bit on Tuesday about, the theme of the book and knowing your worth and all of those things. And I think that's just a really beautiful, because I've not really, for me, it was kind of just I don't want to say, maybe it's coincidence was more the word I should have used, but the way that you both are explaining it, I was like, oh, that's really beautiful. So that wasn't the answer at all that that was just really beautiful. One thing we, in addition to, the whole bringing the book to audio. And one thing, for those of you who are in the audience, in case you don't know, Joe has a Patreon community and a Discord where he does live records of the projects that he's working on. And I was fortunate enough to be in the room when Losing Neverland was being brought to life, and as was Evelyn. For these characters who they've been in your head for a couple of years, Evelyn, they're characters that, okay, Jay and Barry created them, but you made them your own little version. What was it like hearing somebody bring those characters to life?
It's surreal, especially when you have someone as talented as Joe bring them to life. Because as a writer, when you write, I see a movie playing in my head, and I'm just trying to get it out on the page. The other day I was trying to write, and I couldn't type fast enough. My fingers were literally tripping over each other, just trying to get this
like Jim Carrey
movie out that was in my head. Yeah. Because it just kept going faster and faster and faster. So you do kind of like, you hear it and you see it. And when someone can bring it to life, but bring it to life in such a way that it's like explosive almost, just like, the internal becomes the external, and it's just, you know what I mean? And it's like, here you go. It's now it's alive. It's alive. But it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. It was beautiful, surreal, and an unforgettable moment.
Was there anything while Joe was recording that kind of surprised you?
Well, because I didn't give Joe any notes or anything to go off of. So, really? And I hadn't heard any of the voices. So when we jumped into the attic, I had no clue what he was going to do. Hook's voice surprised me. But I don't know if I don't know if I really even had a voice in my head for Hook. I don't know if obviously I did because it talked to me. But more of just like, maybe it was just an always meant to be, like I had never heard it before. And then when I heard Joe do it, I was like, yep, nope, that's it. But I hadn't really thought about what it would sound like, Yeah. He was able to tap into that and do it perfectly.
Nailed it. Yeah. Joe, when you're in those ITBs and you have the author there is with you, does that help you as a performer, or do you still get nervous, or you just what is can you kind of, from a performer perspective, what is that like for you?
Well, I have said often that I really love and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to do a great deal of the recording work that I do inside the audio attic, because having an audience holds me accountable as a performer. And I was speaking to a colleague of mine many years ago about the challenge of being alone in that booth while you're doing the work, and finding ways to remind yourself that somebody is on the receiving end of what you're doing is, I think, really imperative. And I've managed to craft a space for myself creatively where it's more than just me having to remind myself. I'm actually getting to do it that way. And so receiving that feedback and knowing that folks are there, the willingness to dive in and to be a part of that process has really helped me dial in and elevate and be very specific and intentional about my work. And when the author is there, I'm always nervous. I won't do this when I stop being nervous. So that will truly be the day that I think I saw Precious in here, who's very fond of asking me when I'm planning to retire.
You're not allowed to.
Yeah. So, when I stop feeling nervous, when I feel like I'm, that's because for me, the nerves are a reminder that I am where I'm supposed to be, because I'm about to try something that is outside my comfort zone. And that voice for Hook is an example of that. Like I didn't really work on that voice until he came out. And once he was there, I was like, okay, is this where we're going? Is this where you're taking him? And I just really kind of followed the impulse and the intentionality there. I knew that I wanted that voice to be something a little more than. So I was very intentional about the vocal warm up that I did before that live started. But that's mostly about giving myself permission to have access to as much of my vocal range as I can, so that I can hit a more colorful range of notes. And again, for me, it's just it's a great deal of trust and a great deal of pride and nerves when the author is there, and just kind of stay focused and put the work in, and hope that they like it.
I loved it. That's, oh God. Kind of still going the same thought process of performing. Not only did Evelyn get to experience it in the booth, she also got to see it performed on stage during the My Soul to Take tour. It was Baltimore? Yeah, it was Baltimore. So not only were you there when your book came to life, you kind of got to see it performed in person by the actor that brought your characters to life. Being in a room full of, fans of Joe and fans of your series, can you tell us what that experience was like, Evelyn?
Overpowering might be the right word. Talk about nervous.
You were nervous.
The first drop heard throughout the audio attic and
okay, we knew that was coming,
y'all. It was amazing. It took my breath away in such a way that I was not expecting. I knew that I'd probably be nervous, and then Joe went and sat us all front row. So then you're sitting front row, and if you get nervous, you can't get up, you can't move, you can't fidget. Well, I fidgeted. And I got a very stern look from the man on the stage.
You dropped your Altoids.
Because it's a big no-no in theater. But I mean, it was so memorable, and it's great to look back on. But in the moment, it was very overpowering and very, I don't know if I can find the right word right now. Surreal doesn't even do it justice. Because you hear it in the booth and it's just a voice, but then you go and then you see it on stage and it's now this live human being, which you knew was in the booth. But and it just adds another layer of it coming to life. And I think it was also too, like, you struggle with self-worth and thinking, can this ever really happen one day for me? Do my words really matter enough? Is anyone going to care enough? And of course, when you're writing, you want someone to, and you want someone to eventually voice them and maybe bring them to life. At least I always have, because I grew up doing stage and different things like that. And I've always wanted to pursue different other ventures as far as writing screenplays or different things like that. So having that background too, and having it finally get to that point where someone's up on a stage saying words that you wrote,
it's your moment.
It was a dream come true.
Yeah. I love that. Joe, from a performing aspect, what's it, because obviously we know that you're in a booth, which is a lot smaller than your traditional stage. And then, it's one thing having the author there in the ITB, like this digital room that you're all in, but then, when they're literally sitting right in front of you, and you're performing their words, can you tell us what that feels like? Because I'm like a nerd when it comes to the performing part of it, because I don't have that. So I looked at both of you with, your stage backgrounds and your performers and your creatives. And I think that it's just something so beautiful that I'm kind of going to I love getting to hear that peek behind the curtain.
So what you're talking about right now is My Soul to Take, which is entering its third year. These are original stage shows that I have crafted that were and are a continued exploration of what it means to love, what it means to feel, and what it means to be beautiful and broken and flawed as a human being, seen through the lens of both contemporary romance literature and classical world literature. So inside of a singular evening, you'll hear works like contemporary pieces from Evelyn Montgomery and poems from Emily Dickinson, or short stories by Poe, original stories that I've written. The 2 years that we've done so far, I've written 2 totally different shows, crafted different sort of personas to portray on stage, different characters that I embody during the show. And for me, the onus or the impetus to dive into this space was, I remember when I started doing audiobooks and feeling like my background as a stage actor was actually inhibiting my ability to do this job effectively, because the microphone is so intimate and the experience is so small. And what I mean by that is, like, the space you're in is tiny. The microphone is only in one place. Your relationship to and distance to that microphone is extremely important. And any kind of shift in volume can have a dramatic impact on the listening experience, because more often than not, somebody's listening with headphones in a very confined space on their own end, and it is a singular sense experience, versus being on stage, where I was advised by one of my mentors to act expensively, which meant that people have come to spend their time in this theater with you, and oftentimes they're 25 yards away in a seat that's 3 tiers up in the back of the balcony. I mean, you think about some of these Broadway houses, they're 1,500 seats, but there can be 3 or 4 levels. And so if you're on that stage, you need to perform for the people that are right down there in front and for the people that are all the way there in the back. You need to convey emotion. You need to take up space. And that's a totally different set of skills than being this voice in this space. Or so I thought. And I found that in the early part of my career as a voice actor, that I was doing so much work trying to fight against my instincts as a performer that I was being inauthentic, and I wasn't using the skills that I had in my toolbox. And I finally started asking myself a different set of questions. And instead of saying to myself, hey, stop being so big, it was more like, how can I channel where my instincts are telling me to go with this material to make it work in this space? And that's when I started to realize that I don't necessarily need to focus on softening my diction, for example. I've come from a stage background where if you're in the back of that theater, if you're mumbling your words, if you're cutting off the final syllables of things, they're not going to be able to hear you in the back. They just won't. So how can I use that skill for effect in the booth? And that's where, if you listen to some of my work, you'll hear very intentional, like I will hit the final consonants of certain words. I will make sure that it's there, but I can do it in a way now that's a little more nuanced. And so once I felt like I found my voice and used my background to really find its way into the booth, then it was really about like, hey, let's take this thing and blow it back up and make it a stage experience again. And I feel like so many of these stories, particularly romance, because of the emotional investment that these characters are on and the journey that they're inside of, it really does lend itself to stage dramatization. And so finding monologues and scenes that play into similar thematic elements and that show the nuances of love or obsession or passion or madness was just something that I was deeply, deeply intrigued by and very invested in. And it's been a joy to be able to do that. And I remember that first year in New York getting to perform, and there was like 4 authors all sitting together. And I was going to be doing pieces from all of their work. And then the following day or 2 days later, I'm down there and Evelyn is right there in the front. The joy that I feel from being able to be a part of that experience, and the trust, because these authors are giving me their words with permission to use them and to play with them and turn them into this other sort of form of art, in much the same way that Evelyn did with the escapism storyline entirely, working with OG material, source material, and turning it into something new. So I am just really grateful to have found that. I'm really proud of my soul to take. I think that turning the audiobook experience into something that belongs back on a stage is really nice. And I'm excited to do it again in LA. And it's been a thrill to have authors, Evelyn included, in the audience for that experience. And Evelyn, I don't want you to think too much more about the purse situation. That was absolutely nothing compared to the giant cockroach that tried to upstage us in New Orleans.
That was great. The way you handled the cockroach was fabulous. That was theater greatness. I love it.
I remember thinking like, what, is this part of the show? I was like, is this part of the show? But I will say on a more serious note, I remember sitting in New York, and across the room, I mean, I remember Joe was on stage, and I'm, obviously just captivated. But I remember I was very intentional, and I looked across the room and I saw the authors. As a fan of their books, and obviously as a fan of the actor on stage, I remember sitting there thinking to myself, how cool must that be? Like, just to sit there and be like, here's this person who's bringing your words to life in front of you. And I remember looking at their faces, and it was a beautiful moment to be a part of. Beyond, the purse and all that stuff, was there another moment, Evelyn, for you that was really super memorable?
From what?
From seeing the performance?
No, it was all memorable.
Yeah. The whole experience.
Yeah. I think just the love of the community too. Joe has such an amazing community. The Audio Attic is unlike anything else I've ever encountered in my whole entire life. And I encountered it at a time when I really, really needed a space. And the love in that community that he cultivates, the world needs more of that. It's one of the most beautiful things. Just unconditional, and everyone accepting everyone into this community. So being a part of that and getting to meet everyone in the community, and just the love that was shared during that moment in time, was out of this world. And it was a beautiful experience to be a part of, especially seeing Joe and being there for the beginning of his My Soul to Take tours and everything. It was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. Getting back to the words that you've given us in this series, I know I've mentioned, the theme of knowing your worth and what this series kind of, I don't want to say embodies, but there were a couple of quotes that I had highlighted, but I wanted to go back through and just kind of look. And I had taken a couple of quotes that were very popularly highlighted on Goodreads. But the way that you capture so many different emotions between love and grief and fear and loss and all of those things, like you've captured it so beautifully in this series. I have a couple of quotes. I'm going to butcher them. Just remember, Brenda's not a professional voice actor here.
Do you want the professional voice actor to read them?
Do you have them? Do you have them?
Are these all? I mean, I have no context for them, but I do have the words.
Well, that was kind of the whole point, because I didn't really want there to be context. I want people to be a little bit curious about the context of it and pick up the book and be like, what is this? Who's saying it? Are you going to read it?
Well, if you don't tell me who's reading, I don't know if, basically I just need to know if one of these is Hook, I guess. But.
Yeah, no, I think they're all him. They're all, is it Peter or is it Hook?
I don't have the context.
Pick one, Joe.
If my next breath is my last, I want to die finally feeling it entangled with yours.
So much better than I can do it. Evelyn, I'm curious, as the author, do you ever step back from your keyboard and be like, holy shit, I just wrote that?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah. I don't know if I did it with that particular line.
It's a really good one.
I did like that one. Well, because I feel like in the moment, it's exactly Because that was Jake, by the way. So
So good.
I feel like that was perfect for the moment, but there's definitely several times. But I think for me though, I zone out when I write. Like I almost go to a different place, and I get you zone. And so when it's all going on in your head and it's trying to come out on the page, you go and you go and you go and you go and you go, and then you get to the end and you come out of this. I don't know, for me, it sounds really kind of supernatural and weird when I'm explaining it, but that's the way it is for me. And then you come out of it and you look back at what you've just written and you're like, holy shit, that's good. So.
Do you have moments when you're recording, Joe, where you're kind of going through it and you're like, damn, that's a good line? Or you're just like so zoned in, it doesn't cross your mind?
No, I mean, I'm not present in that way.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I was just, because as a reader, there's times where I will stop and be like, I mean, I don't always have like my Kindle open with me, but I will go, if there's something like a line like that, and like the ones that we have here, I will go back, I will pick up the Kindle version and I will absolutely highlight it because it's just such a powerful, powerful line.
I think it's the same kind of concept when he's narrating as when you're writing. You zone, you get into a zone and you just zone out and it just comes out and it just happens. And there's no real way that you can describe it unless you experience it. You're neither here nor there. You're kind of like in this weird in between.
I think that's why I'm so fascinated by it, because it's not something that, or a place where my brain goes. So that's why I ask these questions, because it's something that's truly fascinating to me as I won't say a non-creative person. I'm creative, just not in the same capacity. And it is really fascinating.
There's also, there's no, I saw some interview with, I don't think it was Sarah J. Maas, but somebody who's written like a multi-best-selling like romantic thing. And there's some sentence in there that was something like, open your hips up, baby, or roll your hips back, baby. There was some line like that. And this person was interviewing this author that was like, did you know what you were writing when you wrote that line? And the author was like, no, I had no idea that sentence was going to take off the way it did, because she was like, when I was writing it, I was just thinking like he needed to provide her some instruction because of where they were, like the situation just called for it. But it tapped into something. Sometimes certain things just resonate with a community, or they are right for the moment, whatever that moment is. And so, all you can do as an artist is make what is important to you at that time, and then you give it to the world and you let people consume it, digest it, and reflect on it as they see fit in the time that they're sharing with it. So nobody in the chat knew what I was talking about, though. I was hoping somebody was gonna be like, oh yeah, that's so-and-so from such and such.
Well, someone said, did you mention SJM?
I did mention, but it's not, it was not,
it
was not Sarah J. Maas, but it was somebody at that sort of level writing inside of a universe like that.
Gotcha.
Like Euros.
Nobody, it's a line, some line about the hips is definitely in there. It was something like, open those hips up or roll your, anyway.
Okay.
No idea.
Quote number 2, is that what you want?
Yeah, quote number 2. Let's just slide on into quote number 2. Okay. Go ahead.
If you forget me, forget us. Promise me you'll try and remember there once was a time I loved you with all my heart. If our paths ever cross again, hold on to that. If you forget everything else, please remember that I love you still. And if this was all the time we had, I regret nothing, because loving you, even if only for this brief moment in life, finally gave me a reason to live, to keep fighting.
Wow. Another Jake line. That's a good line. I like that one.
What is that, Evelyn? What does that scene mean to you?
I mean, I think it could be like romantic, but it could be friends too, you meet people in your path in life, and sometimes you don't know why that person. I believe you meet everyone when you're supposed to. I believe that, you know, people come in and out of your life when they're supposed to, when they're supposed to mean something, teach you a lesson, or, you know, just be there for comfort, friend, whatever the case may be. But it's that moment in time where, you know, it's slipping away, or you don't know if it's going to slip away. You don't know if you're ever going to be able to tell this person what you want to tell them. You know, or if you're ever going to have another chance. And I think that happens in friendships and romantic relationships and so many different things in our life, of just like, you know, just remember, you changed my life for the better. And you impacted my life and put me on a, you know, a different course, or however the case may be, with Jake and Tinkerbell and all that kind of stuff. So I love that line, because it can be very impactful for just, you know, different groups of people that you meet, or friends. I'm repeating.
It doesn't have to be just romantic. It can be, you know, a friendship kind of love too. Yeah. Yeah. And I saw Aaron pointed out too, it is very reminiscent of Wicked and For Good. And that's a very, very powerful song too. So I can very much get that in too. Joe, for you as a performer, and you have something that's that vulnerable, how do you kind of balance the emotion and coming across authentic, but without being like overly dramatic? I mean, because that was perfection, by the way.
Well, I guess let me ask you, do you do that in your life when you're feeling vulnerable or emotional or raw?
Yeah.
Do you balance it? No.
Nope.
So
Yeah.
that's
Go
not
on.
I mean, that's not there. That's not on the radar. It's tightrope walking without a net. And you do it because the thing that's on top of the other building is the place where you want to be.
Yeah. Beautifully put.
Yeah. We have one more quote. And if you haven't already been punched in the feels, guys, Joe, you wanna have that?
Is this Peter or is this Hook? Or it's funny because I can't see the word darling without. That's actually the key. I actually was like, I'm not even sure if I know what the Hook voice even sounds like at this point. But then I saw the word darling and I was like, oh, I remember how I said that word. But,
I don't have it in front of me. Otherwise, I'd tell you.
Yeah, she doesn't have it, so
it's fine. I don't imagine that it is. But, the key to life, darling, is finding the one you want to spend it with, the one who's your escape, the one you'll never stop fighting for, the one who's your biggest up and who wants to be beside you when you're all the way down, the person who makes losses easier to take, the one who you want to be trapped with for the rest of your life because no matter how much time passes, they're still your favorite escape. That person for me, Wendy, has always been you.
That was Peter.
That was so beautiful. Thank you for doing that. That was not that was not part of, so surprise everybody. We got some live reading. Yeah. One thing about, you know, the entire series, you know, Peter gets a lot of attention. I mean, it's named after him, but I feel like Wendy grounds a lot of this story. So, Joe, for bringing the series to life, what did you love most about bringing this love story to life?
I mean, I love stories. I love people that are feeling their feelings, and I love being a part of these moments where human beings are beyond the safe, where they're forced, compelled, or brave enough to dare and dream and pursue that thing that is calling to them. So, and this is a very lyrical, fun, dark, twisty story that invites all those moments. So,
Absolutely. So one thing, again, we're not gonna spoil it or anything like that. Um, but we are gonna kind of talk about the ending, Evelyn. Why, why did you leave it open ended? Now it's not a cliffhanger, but it is very much up for interpretation, which I didn't know when I first read the book until I had conversation with a friend. They're like, well, no, this is what happened. And I was like, wait a second, because that is not at all what my interpretation of it was. So without giving anything away as to, what our interpretations were, what was the thought process behind leaving it kind of open for interpretation?
I think me and you kind of had this conversation the other day. I think that's the beauty of art.
Yeah.
Like when you go to a museum or you go to an art gallery, I can stand in front of a painting and see something completely different than you. And I could go back after, say, my father has cancer, or my best friend got in a car accident and died, and go look at that same painting a week later and see something completely different. And that's the beauty of it. I've picked up books and read them. One of my favorite book ever is The Great Gatsby. And I'm still finding
I did that one too.
I know.
Yeah.
I actually listen to it all the time, to be honest. But
Awesome.
when I hear Joe narrate it, it's like my comfort listen now. So like when I'm doing my own art or whatever, or playing on my iPad at night, I'll just put on The Great Gatsby and I'll listen to it in the background.
Hug. Yeah.
So many times that I can pick up that book and hear a different line, even though I've listened to it probably 100 times. And that's the beauty of art. It's kind of like, what do you think? What art is supposed to challenge us and make us like think. Like, what do you see? And so that's why I wanted to end Losing Neverland that way. It's like, what do you think happened? And I know what I think happened, but I'm going to take that one to the grave. But no one's ever only my mama. Only my mama got that out of me. Like I told my mom.
Tried. Yeah.
And my mom cried her eyes out, but she's a crier. And
that's just one she'll never tell me.
and so I know what I intentionally meant by the ending, but I love open to interpretation because I love it challenging people to what do you think happened? Did they survive? Did they not? Did they go to another place? Did they learn what they needed to learn? Are they starting over again? I don't know. What do you think? Mm-hmm. And then read it again 10 years from now after you go through different things in life and see what you think then as well. Yeah. That's the beauty of it. And a lot of people don't think that way, but I think that way.
No, I think it's brilliant. I mean, I remember because in my head, I knew exactly what took place and I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, well, wait a second. But you're completely right when you say, because there's plenty of books behind me that I've read initially, just as the ebook that I'm now experiencing in audio, or I've got favorites that are behind me. I mean, there's the books that I've read 5 years ago. Like 5 years ago, Brenna is going to read a book today as a completely different person. Yeah. It's 5 years of life and experiences. And I think probably if I go and I listen to Saving Tank, or Losing Neverland, 5 years from now, I might think completely differently. Like, wait, why did I ever think that it ended this way? And I love that you gave people that, I don't know if freedom is the right word, but I think it's a really brilliant concept. And I love that, as frustrating as it is that I want to know what you think happened. I love that you've given your readers and your fans the chance to kind of just be like, no, it's completely up for interpretation. And I think it's fascinating. When you, Evelyn, do you have fans that kind of give you their theories?
I have.
Are there any that you're just like, no, obviously we're not going to go into detail, but
most people will tell me that they died.
Okay.
Lots of people just be like, they died. I'm like, did they?
I love that you're so you're not breaking on anything. I love that. Joe, we're gonna shift and go over to you. Something fun for those of you who may not already know. In addition to, I know someone said that, because I said that you wear a lot of hats, and he said, no, you only wear the LA hat. And
it's good. I didn't get a chance to make that comment, so I'm really glad that somebody did. Good for so whoever cute. That is.
I want to say it was, I forget who it was, but then someone said, nope, it's a custom JA hat. So it
is now a custom JA hat. It has been for years, cool. LA hats.
So cool.
So cool. Now I just have a robust collection of LA hats Some I haven't even. I did like I got them. I'm like I'll wear this eventually. But now I'm like now I've got 9 JA hats,
Yeah.
so I gotta. Yeah.
It's still pretty
Anyway,
cool.
I wear
And
metaphorical hats.
Very true.
And
Yes.
literal hats. One literal hat, many metaphorical hats.
Very true. So one of the newer things that you have started doing is you have cameos. So if you guys are in the chat and you didn't know that, yeah, get on that one. So over, God, I don't even know how many hours of your books that I've listened to and different performances, and you've brought all these different fictional characters to life, that they're iconic and they've stayed with me, and tattoos and all that fun stuff. But the whole concept of a cameo, and it's so much more personal, and it's specific to the person, and you give folks the option of, if you want something funny or inspirational or whatever. I have mine saved on the desktop of my phone. So when I have those days when the voices get really loud or the imposter syndrome kind of starts screaming in my head, because the voices in your head can get really loud and cruel sometimes, and we can be really mean to ourselves. It's great to have somebody whose work you admire and appreciate kind of remind you, the one line, well, there's a lot of lines, but there's one line that you had said in mine that says, you deserve to take up the space that you take up in this world. And it's very profound. And it's something that's really special, when you are giving someone this message that has my name in it, and it's very powerful. And like I've already mentioned, I know within this series, knowing your worth is a big part of what escapism is. And there's something I was kind of curious when it comes to the cameos, Joe, is what is it like to use your voice, not bringing fictional characters to life, but to reminding someone like me, like, to remember your worth and kind of, yeah.
I think one of the most frustrating things about being a person is that it is so much easier to hear what you need to hear when somebody else says it.
Yeah.
Like
the truth.
The weird truth of that sentence has effectively motivated me to turn any of those moments into opportunities for me to shine that mirror really kind of back on myself and say, like, what would I want to hear? What have I yearned to hear when I've been in those places? Because I too am a person who feels all of those feelings. There's a really wonderful interview that I've listened to and read a couple times that Taylor Swift just did for the New York Times. They did a series on like the 20 or 30 best songwriters of all time, and Taylor's on that list. And she's interviewed, and she talks about songwriting and being an artist as being a mirror ball. So she said, look, you just kind of you create from a place of personal honesty and integrity, and then you put it out there, and what you receive back at you are reflections of all the people that are receiving and engaging with that work. And that's a really powerful image and an idea when I think about putting my work out there, my feelings out there, and people will throw back their ideas about the work, about my character, about many, many things. And when it comes to getting an opportunity to do something like a cameo, for me, that's an opportunity to step outside of the interior of that mirror ball and also kind of be the reflection and the source. And so I just, I welcome those opportunities, and I will tell you that I honestly just try and listen to myself as much as I am trying to talk. in those and just kind of be present with them and receive, while I'm also trying to like give affirmations or words of positivity. And I am happy to do various kinds of messages. I've done many now, and they have taken on many different shapes. And I must say that it is really heartwarming and really powerful to have folks share vulnerabilities and sort of present themselves in a space that says, hey, I'm here, and this is a thing I could use right now. The power, the courage, and the bravery that it takes, the self-awareness that it takes at the outset to come to a stranger and say, here's this thing I think that I could really benefit from, is a wonder to me. I am so amazed at the human beings who are sitting in their feelings in a deep enough way that they can say like, hey, here are the places I feel a little emotionally vacant, or here's a part of my cup that could really use a little more filling up. And I am really touched and very grateful and deeply honored that there is a belief that I am capable of helping to fill that cup. And I will do everything I can to do that with everything I have for as long as I'm able.
It's very much appreciated. And like Marla said, you know, it's being the candle in the mirror and shining that light on other folks. And I can't explain it, but it's, like I said, it's powerful and it's meaningful, and it's literally on my home screen on my phone. So it's there when I need it.
I'm glad. I'm very grateful to hear that. And I'm glad it's yours. So, yeah.
Well, I jokingly say to people, kind of to lighten this up, because we're not going to get terribly emotional. In one of the posts, I don't remember if it was, I believe it was Evelyn's, and there was the clip from the book. And, you know, in the clip, Joe is saying my friend Wendy's name, and she said something about, oh, that's my name. And I was like, well, that's never going to happen to me. I will never have my name in a book, but I have a cameo from Joe and he says my name, and it's still really cool. So sorry. I'm still very bitter 80s baby who never got anything personalized her entire life because my mom had to be creative with my name.
It's okay. I appreciate you saying that, because I was, when I get on lives here, I will tell you there's tons of people that are like, hey, this is my name, say my name, or this is my friend's name, say my friend's name. And now I can be like, I'm happy to do that over here on this website where you can pay for the privilege, and I can fit it into my schedule. And I'm very grateful. And in very much the same way I sent you a message saying, hey, know your worth. And this is that. Hey, turns out this is my worth, and I'm owning it, and I'm stepping into it, and this is where I belong. And love
it. Yeah. Worth every penny. Yeah.
There are, it's one of the reasons actually that I have, that I try and set boundaries around certain things that I will say. I actually watched, there was this, I think it was a TikTok video actually, the gentleman that plays the brother, I forget the actor's name, but the gentleman that plays the brother in The Bear, not Jeremy Allen White, but the other guy.
Yeah, I know that guy.
Taller, skinny guy with the haunting blue eyes. He was signing some things. I think he's in a Broadway show, or I don't know. He was going to some film screening. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But he was signing a bunch of stuff, and somebody that was in the signing area had said to him, they were like, "Hey, can I just get you to say yes, chef? Can I get a yes, chef?" And he looked up and he said, no, I'm not going to do that. And I was like, oh man, the people pleaser in me is like, I want to do the thing that people ask for. And it's nice to be reminded that it is okay to set a boundary for myself, that an artist is entitled to say, here's the limit at which you are entitled to have access to me or to the work I've done. And while I am profoundly grateful and very, very touched that there are certain phrases I have said, sentences in books, or phrases you see in lots of books that people love to hear me say, I am so honored by that. I am also very happy to say that I believe that there are times and spaces and places for those words, for those phrases, for those things. And oftentimes they are inside of the pages of those books or as a part of those stories. And that for me to return to them whenever called upon to do so, I think actually limits the power and the potential of those words inside of the context of those stories in those moments. So, yeah.
I'm just noticing that Letty just sent you the goat. I didn't realize there was a goat thing option in here in TikTok, but I mean, the timing for that one, Letty, was fantastic. But yeah, because yeah, that was a good one. So we're gonna kind of start wrapping up.
There's a goat graphic.
Yeah,
I missed it.
it was really, really, really tiny, but
Wow.
it said, I think she
Thank
sent
you,
me
Letty.
5, and it just said GOAT. Yeah,
Thank you thanks for my goat.
yeah.
I had a goat on the screen yesterday. It doesn't count because I got nervous. I came on and then this count.
look,
I see
wait,
the little
Sam did
goat.
one.
I see it.
Can you see it? Yeah. Thanks, Sam.
I
It's
didn't
so
have
quick.
I set up I'm staring at a space that I set up for this live that I never even got on. But I have a Lego skull that Melanie made, and then I've got my attic holiday secret elf friend person got me this Lego plant, and I had the two of them there. They look very nice together in front of my map. But this countdown started and was like, "Do you want to turn your camera on?" I was like, "I don't know if it's ready. I don't know if it's set up. I don't know what's going on." And then it was on, and I was like, I'm here now. It's back of my head time.
Yep.
It's Shepherd Fairy make art time. So.
No turning back. So we're gonna one thing I'm kind of curious, what's coming up. So that's kind of actually, I don't think I mentioned this at all too. Obviously we're celebrating, the audioversary and the anniversary of the book coming out, but kind of what triggered all of this was Merlin started talking.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that kind of leads me. And so Evelyn, can you kind of give us a bit of a sneak peek at what's coming up, what's coming next?
Sure. I have 4 or 5 audiobooks coming in the next 13, 14 months.
I know, so excited.
I will be expanding the Escapism universe, so I will be writing Merlin's story. Well, I'm already writing Merlin's story. So it's going to be Merlin and Morgan, and it's going to be Camelot, and these are all going to be interconnected standalones now. We don't have to read in order or do all that kind of stuff. And then my plan is to give Hades his story with Persephone. And then I'm writing a duet right now that is got Broadway and Hollywood and murder as a backdrop, and she's an artist, and there's 3 guys, and they all incorporate the different types of love. So you have the fairy tale, the karmic, and the unconditional. And it's fabulous, the best thing I've ever written. And so that'll be released. I'm going to rapid release that in the beginning of this next year. So all the things, so many things.
I did see Mel had mentioned it in the chat. So if you want to get a sneak peek at Merlin, where can folks go?
So I'm releasing it right now on my Patreon, chapter by chapter. So I'm committed at least 2 chapters a month. Hopefully more, because it'll keep me dedicated in writing and going. And it's so much fun writing a sorcerer and the magic, and it's been a blast starting to write that story and get back in the headspace.
And Joe, what about you? What do you have coming up?
Asher is with an editor, the second book in the Lost Souls Chronicles. There's going to be a live in studio recording of that audio book in a couple of weeks, and that will release in September. And then in October the audio for that will drop, and then I'll be on the road for a bit, and then we'll be at My Soul to Take at the Hudson Theater in the heart of Hollywood, literally a couple blocks from the home I grew up in. And I'm really excited to build a third piece of the My Soul to Take universe and to bring that to a stage in my hometown. There'll be folks in that audience for those shows who have known me my entire life. There'll be folks that have known me and don't even know who I am anymore. They don't even know. So there'll be this
Surprise.
A lot.
Awesome.
I mean, a lot of people don't know what I do. Like I've had, yeah. I mean, I've had live events, and
Yeah.
I've had a friend show up, and they're like, wait, this is you. Like
Wow.
I remember doing a signing, and a buddy of mine was there, and he came up to me and he was like, "There's a line of people." And I was like, I know. He's like, they're here for you. I was like, no, I know. It's crazy. Like he's like,
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you. I'm proud of you. I was like, thank you. I appreciate that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So that'll be, that's one of the additional things I'm really looking forward to. I mean, literally, like I told, I was looking for after party venues, and I texted one of my buddy's little sisters, somebody I've known her entire life, who's known me most of my entire life. Like we grew up together in the same neighborhood, and I was like, I'm going to be there doing the show. She's like, you have to tell me when. Like, the whole family's coming. Like, we're getting tickets. So, it should be pretty. It should be pretty amazing. And
I love
the
full
theater is
circleness
incredible.
of it.
It's also this is the theater where my Big Fat Greek Wedding got its start, and it is also the theater. It's also the same stage where Heathers the musical had its first run.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
I feel like I'm in very good company. I'm very excited about that. And yeah, so that's October. The first thing though, and I think the tickets are still available, and I believe I saw them here in the chat a little bit ago. If you're in Michigan or apparently
They're here.
a part of Canada, you should come to Detroit at the end of this month.
Right now,
Sunday,
Aaron's gonna go crazy. Got a Michigan shout out.
Sunday, the last Sunday of July, myself, DJ Krimmer, and Ruby M. Darling will be at D&K Books in Detroit. It's going to be super fun. Should be amazing. Yeah, support an independent bookstore celebrating 1 year anniversary of their being there. They've been super supportive of Grimm, carrying it in their store, and I'm very excited to go up there. It'll be my first time ever in my whole life. Also, and I'm not joking about this, if anybody has a sandwich recommendation in the greater Detroit area, holler at your boy.
I have a feeling Aaron's gonna be like, bro, I'm gonna be your total tour guide. Evelyn, what about you? Do you have any events and stuff coming up? I mean, I know, I want to share it with the group. So
I have a bunch. I've got 6 signings before the end of the year. So
just a few.
just a few. I think I hit a spree of one every 2 to 3 weeks over the next until like the middle of September, starting next weekend with Bray. And then I'm going to be back up in Ohio 2 weeks after that. And then I'm going to be in Texas 2 weeks after that for Book from Bash. And then I come back, and then I'm in Lexington for another one. And then I think I have a month break, and then I have another one I think in Nashville or something. So boom, 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 boom.
Just a couple.
Just a couple.
Yeah, just a couple. And Joe, I know you have a couple of big ones too, namely Book Boyfriend Bash and I always get it backwards. A Daunting Darling author event up in Massachusetts.
I will be. Yeah, I'll be in Texas in August, and I'll be in Salem in October. I believe tickets are available to both of those events too. There's so
not many, but yes, there are.
If you are, if you're in or around Los Angeles in the middle of October, the weekend. So I'm doing 4 shows for my soul to take. There'll be 2. There's Friday, Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So the Friday and Tuesday shows will be the same, and the Saturday, Wednesdays will be the same. Friday, Saturday are sold out. Tuesday, Wednesday, there are still a handful of tickets available. There are also after parties Saturday and Wednesday, per my conversation with my friend, who we ended up settling on like one of my favorite bars in the area. It's a great spot. So that's happening there. And then immediately after that, heading to Salem for the following weekend, which should be a great time to be in the Northeast Boston area. And then, that's all I can tell you about right now. Yeah. If you can believe it or not, I'm actually still holding on to a piece of information that I'm not at liberty to disclose yet. All of those things I can tell you about, and there's something else I still can't even tell you about.
Really?
I believe it.
Yeah.
I do believe it. I do believe he has a diamond in the rough. I do believe that in true Joe fashion, he's keeping out on everybody.
I mean, all 84 of us can be like really, really, really good and not tell anybody, and we'll keep a secret.
Yeah, right.
Is there anything you can share with us, Evelyn, that's new news to everybody? An exclusive?
Yeah. I mean, me and Joe will be working together again this next year. So
we are.
We'll be doing 2 more of my audiobooks. They're dark and they're twisted, and it's mafia, and it's crazy, and it's spicy, and it's a wild, twisted ride. So that should be fun. I think it releases next May and June. So I don't know when they'll record, but yeah, it'll be fun.
Very excited for that one.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks. So we're gonna start wrapping up, but for anybody who's in watching, who has not experienced what the Escapism series is, Joe, I'm actually going to ask you first. What would you tell them to kind of like convince them to take a chance on this series?
I feel like we covered a lot of the things that make this story and this series.
Did we get everybody curious enough? Because I want,
yeah. Sorry, TikTok just told me that there were 69 comments sent in the last 5 minutes. Why not send one too? I've been trying TikTok. Yeah, no, I think it's an imaginative, fun, twisty retelling of a story that we all have a sort of familiar core memory with, that has been turned into something that is new and fresh and really fun to dive into. And yeah, I think the audio is very good. So you just listen to it or immersive read it.
Absolutely. Evelyn, what about you? Our creator of this wonderful world.
I thought about this one. I would, if I had to tell someone, I would say, if you ever wanted a series where you could escape into the power of love, the Escapism series is probably for you.
Yeah.
Now everyone's going to probably want to go listen to Huey Lewis in the News.
No, I went totally Celine Dion.
Oh, okay.
Totally. I'm sorry. My husband would fuss at me because he loves him, Huey Lewis.
So there's a question in the chat. Brittany, I'm going to be in Midland, Texas, at Book Boy. Oh, thank you, Sarah Marie. I love when you guys that hang out for these things. You guys are so great. It's so cool to see the way that people support each other in here. And yeah, Brittany, I'll be at Book Boyfriend Bash in Midland, Texas. I have run my airbrush T-shirt idea past my design team. I have been hit with a resounding ha 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 no. So I've had to wrestle with that dream dying all day today, but I am merely a vessel, and the way I dress is Candace's art, and I won't step on her toes. So if she says no, that no means no.
Well, I know we've been
there was going to be airbrush T-shirts. When did this happen? That was
I had this. I like because it's the Book Boyfriend Bash, and there will be lots of models there and other folks, and I was like, I'm gonna wear one of those boardwalk shirts with the chest and the abs just spray painted on, airbrushed on.
That's hilarious.
And I'm not joking, you guys, because I mentioned it last night during my marathon live, and then I texted Candace today. So we were talking about some other things and building some stuff up, and I was like, hey, also just can I wear to one of the things? Is like, can I wear one of those airbrush shirts that you get at like Dollywood or at like the Boardwalk or whatever, that's got like the abs and the chest? And her response was, ha 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 ha, no. So
I think it's there is a ball that night. You can slip it in under the suit.
Wear like, under the jacket.
Under the suit, so no one really seems only that it's there.
Listen,
right.
I am very, like, I don't have the words to describe how grateful I am for Candace, who has literally dressed and designed outfits for the biggest stars on the actual planet. Like all those people that are performing at the World Cup, I think she's been on tour with all of them, definitely most of them. And she said no. So that no means no. Game recognized game.
Well, That's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit worried about how hot it's going to be because everyone says it's going to be really, really hot. I mean, it's going to be like 97 degrees here tomorrow, so I'm like, Texas heat ain't nothing.
Oh, the saddest part is that I think that means I may need to rethink my fuzzy cardigan game.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not fuzzy cardigan
Don't
season
think you want to do
in
that in
Midland, Texas.
Texas. No.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
we'll be fine. Says the girl who's going to wear this big kind of gown dressy thing. But hey, it's my first ball. You gotta go big or go home. Anywho, I do want to say to everybody who is still hanging out here, who's been in the chat, kind of echoing what Joe said. You all are amazing, and I've been watching the comments go through. And anytime there was a question, you guys are all just jumping right in and answering everybody. It's been amazing to kind of watch and to have you guys all hang out here and celebrate this series. That it not only it doesn't mean a lot to me and to Evelyn and to Joe, but to a lot of readers that are out there. So if anybody has not listened to the series yet or has not experienced it, please go check it out. It's available. It's Audible or Amazon.
It should be everywhere.
It is everywhere.
Yeah.
It's also on the Blue Nose Audio app, and it's yeah. Make sure you're following, because I know we talked about a lot of different events, locations, and all these different things and projects that are coming out. So make sure you're following Evelyn on socials, and of course following Joe, because we have to get him up past the 150.
I think we did it. I have.
You did? It's official.
So yeah.
Ta-da! But a sincere thank you to everybody who's here, and especially to Evelyn and to Joe for taking time out of their lives to celebrate this series.
Well, especially to Joe, because it's been 2 years. Like I live with the books internally because I'm the author. Yeah. But for Joe to take time out of his schedule, especially when he's so busy right now writing and recording and everything, and come back 2 years later, that means a lot, because he doesn't have to do that. And so thank you very much, Joe, for coming and sitting down with us and taking time out of your schedule to help spread the word about a project that released 2 years ago. That means a lot.
I'm very happy to be here, and if there's folks here that haven't had a chance to dive into that universe, I hope they do. And congrats to you, and here's to many more stories.
Absolutely.
We're back at 77 people. We're back to my football number.
Perfect way to end it.
Here's a fun fact.
Perfect way to end it. Sorry, go ahead.
At the very end of every live I do, we end up at my soccer number, because I was a goalie and I wore 00. So.
On that note, y'all, this has been so much fun. Thank you, everybody who's come out and who's celebrated. It's still at 77. I'm loving this. So we're gonna call it a night and say goodnight to everybody. Big hearts to everybody. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye,
everybody.
guys.